Lies that they're telling about you that you don't agree with.
Well, I think one of the things that says, for example, about Donald Trump's economic policies is that somehow they're going to jack up inflation, which is rich coming from Kamala Harris, whose economic policies have directly led to inflation.
Tariffs are inflationary.
Well, not always, right? Let's just take.
They're either inflationary or people aren't buying the products anymore.
Well, let's just take one example. So one of the classic examples that economists use to attack, or some economists, I should say, use to attack Donald Trump's economic policies is the tariffs that he imposed on washing machines and other dishwashers. So they show a chart that says, well, look, a few months after this tariff, the price of dishwashers went up a little bit. But if you look over 2 years, actually the price of dishwashers went down. You induced a lot of American factories to invest in American workers and American-made products. And the price of dishwashers has actually lagged behind the price of a lot of other home appliances. So sometimes when you induce investment and capital formation in the United States of America, it does lower prices on American workers. And again, the experience of Donald Trump's presidency, he was president for 4 years. He did impose tariffs sometimes to induce more investment in American workers. And what happened? We had 1.5% inflation, rising take-home pay, and the best economy for workers in 40 years.
That's different than across the board tariffs, though.
But when people say that Donald Trump is going to destroy the economy, he was already the leader of the American economy for 4 years. We had rising prosperity, broad-based middle-class wage growth.
Senator,
that is a record I'd like to get back to.
Senator, I think the question, though, on the tariffs is, and it's where Joe is going, because they're across the board and they're not as targeted, it's unclear. There are certain industries that, unfortunately, we don't have. Now, would it be great if our country were to invest in some of these industries that we're missing on the manufacturing side? But the amount of time it may very well take to, quote unquote, induce every industry to invest here to manufacture, that's the complication with the plan. So when you see, for example, like a Goldman Sachs report come out suggesting that this actually becomes not just a massive tax, but a massive drain on the economy. What do you think? And then just a related question, because a lot of people have said this. Do you believe that the entire across-the-board tariff would go into effect, or should we think of it as some kind of negotiating cudgel, if you will, with China for other things?
Well, first of all, I do think that it's negotiation. Donald Trump is a negotiator. He believes in using tariffs for negotiation, but he also does believe in using tariffs to induce more manufacturing, more capital formation in our country. But, Andrew, the problem with the argument here is when people say these tariffs are going to have an effect, Donald Trump already imposed specific tariffs on specific industries. You didn't see the negative consequences come to light. In fact, what you saw was rising wages and rising take-home pay. So when people say you can't do this in a narrow way, you can't do it in a broad-based way, I just think that doesn't actually fit with reality. And there's actually a deeper argument here that I think Donald Trump really, again, understands and understood better than a lot of people who said that somehow American prosperity was going to come by shipping our steel industry and our pharmaceutical industry overseas. They were wrong and he was right. So maybe he's right about his policies and the effect they're going to have on the future, too. But one of the critical conceits that our bipartisan consensus made over the last 40 years is that you could separate the manufacture of things from the design of things. You open up an iPhone and it says, I think it says designed in Cupertino, California. The implication, of course, is that it's manufactured in Shenzhen, China. But what we're finding out is that the people who are manufacturing things, they innovate. They become more productive. They develop the critical skills necessary to get better at manufacturing, and then they start designing the things, too.
Right.
If we're not doing enough manufacturing in our own country, we're going to lose our tech edge, and then we're going to be in a world of hurt.
Senator,
so there's a critical dynamic difference. Go ahead.
The flip side is it creates an export problem because there'll be retribution. I've gotten emails even in the past week from viewers of Squawk who are farmers in the Midwest who are worried, deeply worried, that depending on how these tariffs play out, that it's actually going to affect them on the opposite end.
Well, Andrew, this actually highlights, again, we have to look at experience versus some of these ridiculous predictions from people who have an axe to grind against Donald Trump. I'm, of course, not saying the farmers fall into that category, but when did America, for the first time maybe in our history, become a net food importer, meaning we need to take in more food than we produce ourselves? 2023, under the policies of Kamala Harris. When Donald Trump was president and doing all these things that certain pundits say are going to lead to terrible outcomes, what actually happened? America was a net food exporter. We grew more of our food than we needed. That is an important thing. One of the critical mistakes that we made, again, is that we became dependent on foreign nations for the goods that we need. Now we're becoming dependent on foreign nations for the food that our children need to eat. This is insanity. We have to be self-reliant. We have the biggest economy in the world. Every business, every foreign country, every competitor wants access to American markets. If you want access to American markets, you can't use Chinese slave labor to produce your products. You've got to be able to use American workers, and that's the whole thrust of Donald Trump's economic policies.